Today's video is entitled, What Kind of YouTube Channel Should I Start? Hi, my name is Christopher Brown from AlphaLifestyleAcademy.com. Now, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we do a new video. But before we go ahead and get started here today, there are two personality traits that are the greatest predictors of wealth. So I want to invite you to take our performance-based personality test to see if you have any of these traits, and if you don't worry about it, because chances are you were not born with these traits. I know I was not. I've had to cultivate them by optimizing my brain to make more money. So you can take your performance-based personality test at millionairetest.alphalifestyleacademy.com. The world is full of talented, hardworking individuals who never reach their dreams because the competition is fierce. But for you to succeed, you have to know what you are up against. As Mark Cuban says, if you don't know more than your competition, they can kick your ass. So many people decide to start channels that display their talents. However, this is more difficult because talent is relative. It depends on someone's opinion. To give yourself a competitive edge, you must understand the economics of YouTube. Dr. Jordan Peterson, in his personality lecture series, addresses in any creative endeavor, only a very small percentage make up the majority of the results, which holds true in every area of your life, including business, making money, and YouTube. When you look at all the YouTubers out there, only a very small percentage of them receive half the views. Why?
Goals scored in hockey, etc. Any number of paintings painted, number of compositions written, anything like that, where the fundamental underlying measure is human productivity, what you find is that a very tiny percentage of people produce almost all the output. It's called a Pareto distribution, P-A-R-E-T-O. And it was studied in detail in scientific productivity by someone named De Sola Price. It's a square root law, so here's the law fundamentally. If you look at the number of people who are in a given domain, who are producing in a given domain, the square root of the people produce half the product. So that means if you have 10 employees, 3 of them do half the work, but if you have 10,000 employees, 100 of them do half the work. Right? It's a very, very vicious statistic. And you won't learn about that in psychology for reasons I have no idea about, because you learn about the normal distribution and not the Pareto distribution. But Pareto distributions govern, for example, the distribution of money, which is why 1% of the people in the general population have the overwhelming amount of money, and 1/10 of that 1% has almost all of that. Right? So I think it's like the richest 100 people in the world have as much money as the bottom 2.5 billion. And you think, well, that's a terrible thing, and perhaps it is, but what you have to understand is that that law governs the distribution of creative production across all creative domains, right? It's something like a natural law, and we'll talk about that more, but imagine what happens when you play Monopoly. You've all played Monopoly. What happens when you play Monopoly? One person ends up with all the money, all right? Then you play another game of Monopoly. What happens? One person ends up with all the money. It's actually the inevitable consequence of multiple trades that are conducted randomly. So if you take 1,000 people and you get them to play a trading game, you each give them $100, say, or $10, and they have to trade with another person by flipping a coin. I win the coin toss, you give me $1, you win, I give you $1. If we all play that long enough, one person will end up with all the money and everyone else will end up with 0. So it's a deeply built feature of systems of creative production, and no one really knows what to do about it, because of course the danger is that all the resources get funneled to a tiny minority of people at the top, and a huge section of the population stacks up at 0. But to blame that on the oppressive nature of a given system is to radically underestimate the complexity of the problem. No one actually knows how to effectively shovel resources from the minority that controls almost everything to the majority that has almost nothing in any consistent way, because as you shovel money down, it tends to move right back up, and it's a big problem.
You may be familiar with the 80-20 principle, in which says that 80% of your videos will only get 20% of your views, which is a law of science. But it also means 20% of your videos will receive 80% of your traffic. Now, you may not understand this at this point, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There are 300 hours of videos that are uploaded on YouTube every second, with over 30 million people watching those videos every day. Now, you may complain, rant, and rave on how unfair this is. You cannot change the rules, but you can change what side that you end up on by understanding the economics of YouTube. However, the longer you stay committed to a specific endeavor, the better your odds of success will become. We know as business leaders what makes a business succeed. However, Douglas Krager, in his book, 50 Ways to Train Your Brain for Wealth, talks about this as well. One of the experts he mentions in his books explains, if 9 out of 10 businesses fail, that one that is successful, the number shows that it will cover any losses from those 9 businesses that fail. Now, most people do not look at it this way. If they fail 1 or 2 times, they give up on their dreams because of not understand what we call as the knowledge of the 1%, by understanding how the numbers play out. You may have to upload 100 or more videos before you see any traction. However, because people are not getting the results they expected, they quit too soon. It is not that they will not be successful, but they do not give themselves enough time to be successful. Now, again, the longer you stay committed to a specific endeavor, the better your odds of success become. Now, there are 2 personality traits that are the greatest predictors of wealth. So I want to invite you to take our performance-based personality test to see if you have any of these traits. And if you don't worry about them, because chances are you were not born with these traits. I know I was not born with them, but I've had to cultivate them by optimizing my brain to make more money. Now, you can take your performance-based personality test at millionairetest.alphalifestyleacademy.com. Now, I had a blast recording this video for you today. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and we will see you in our next video.